Returning from Secret Stream, this is a new beginning that represents life after death. I wanted to ensure that, in the end, this dream had some significance because, as you may know, this young man lost his life during the journey. As soon as the shots were fired, everything collapsed, and we came to an abrupt stop. When we came to a halt at the light, I noticed several girls on the sea. I started calling out the window, "Hey Mom, what's up? What's good?" And suddenly a car pulled up. The driver didn't say anything or yell anything, he was just Christopher George Lore Wallace. Born in Brooklyn on May 21, 1972, Biggie was the son of Jamaican immigrants. His parents, Vida Wallace, a preschool teacher, and Selwyn George Lore, a politician and welder, left when he was 2 years old. His mother worked 2 jobs to support Biggie while he was growing up in Brooklyn, and at the age of 12, he began dealing drugs. While in high school, he switched schools and attended George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School with Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes, despite being a good student. Biggie. He began rapping as a teenager, performing on the streets and with local groups. His early stage name was MC Quest, and he learned jazz from saxophonist Donald Harrison. At the age of 17, he began to exhibit a conceited attitude. In 1989, he dropped out of high school and became involved in criminal activities, which resulted in his arrest for weapons offenses and probation violations. In 1990, he was arrested again for dealing crack cocaine in North Carolina, and after serving 9 months in jail, he recorded a demo tape under the name Microphone Murderer as Biggie Smalls. Using a moniker derived from a movie character and his own stature, DJ Mr. C advertised the tape, attracting the interest of the rap publication featured in the Unsigned Hype. Biggie's demo helped him gain recognition, so he set up a meeting, and in 1992, after Diddy was fired from Uptown Records, he signed to Uptown Records and founded Bad Boy. Biggie's girlfriend gave birth to his daughter Tiana in 1993, despite their breakup, and he promised her the best. Combs, who discovered Biggie's continued involvement in drug dealing, insisted that he stop. Biggie gained notoriety with remixes of Mary J. Big songs and took on the moniker The Notorious Big. Around this time, he also became friends with Tupac Shakur. Time with Lil C, remembering their close bond song Party, which was released in 1994. Biggie also featured on remixes with LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes. On August 4, 1994, the legendary rapper tied the knot with R&B singer Faith Evans, whom he had met 8 days earlier at a Bad Boy bar. After a 5-day photo shoot, he achieved his first pop chart success as a solo artist with the single double A-side Juicy Unbelievable, which peaked at number 27. His debut album, Ready to Die, was released on September 13, 1994. The album peaked at number 13 on the Billboard 200 chart and was eventually certified 4 times platinum. Restored focus to East Coast hip-hop during a period when West Coast hip-hop ruled the U.S. charts. The record, which included Juicy, was well received and produced 2 hit singles, Big Papa, which sold platinum and peaked at number 1 on the U.S. rap chart, and One More Chance, which sold 1.1 million copies. In 1995, Busta Rhymes reported that he witnessed Biggie giving away free copies of Ready to Die from his house. Rhymes surmised that this was Biggie's method of self-promotion. Biggie also became friends with basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal claimed they met at a listening session for Give Me the Loot, where Biggie mentioned him in the lyrics. Attracted O'Neal to his music. O'Neal asked Biggie to collaborate with him, and the two eventually recorded the song You Can't Stop the Rain. According to Diddy, Biggie wouldn't work with anyone he didn't truly respect, so Biggie shouted O'Neal out. Biggie and O'Neal later met on Sunset Boulevard in 1997. In 2015, Dad Dillinger. Frequently involved with Shakur, he stated that Biggie's travel to meet him for cannabis use and a recording of 2 songs were acceptable to him. In the summer, Biggie met Charlie Baltimore, and the two fell in love. A few months into their relationship, she left him a voicemail with a rap verse she had written, and he started encouraging her. Biggie was scheduled to perform in Sacramento, but when his group got there weren't many people there. When they started performing, people were throwing coins at them. After they left, they were reportedly set up at gunpoint in the parking lot of the venue by E4's goons, who were Disappointed with an interview Biggie did in August 1995 for a Canadian magazine, the protege group Junior Mafia Junior Masters, at Finding Intelligent Attitudes, released their debut album, Conspiracy. Comprised of his childhood friends, the album went gold and featured rappers Lil' Kim and Lil C.E., who later became solo artists. Biggie continued to work with R&B artists, collaborating with R&B groups 112 on Only You and Total on Can't You See, both of which reached the top 20 of the Hot 100 by the end of the year. His singles Players Anthem and Get Money, both featuring Biggie, went gold and platinum. Artist who peaked at number 1 on the U.S. mainstream pop and R&B charts in July 1995. He was featured on the cover of The Source with the statement, "The King of New York takes over," referring to his character Frank White, who was based on a character from the 1990 movie King of New York. In August 1995, he won Best. In an interview with Billboard, Biggie revealed that during his years of success, he got involved in a rivalry between the East and West Coast hip-hop scenes with Shakur, who is now his former friend. Biggie won New Artist Solo Lyricist of the Year, Live Performer of the Year, and Debut Album of the Year. Vibe in April 1995 while incarcerated in the Clinton Correctional Facility. Shakur accused Biggie and Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, of knowing beforehand about a robbery that happened on November 30, 1994, which resulted in him being shot 5 times and losing thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, even though Biggie and his entourage were in the same room. Biggie claimed that Tupac's presence in the recording studio at the time of the shooting was merely a coincidence and that he was unable to determine who was actually responsible. As a result, he kind of placed the blame on me in 2012, a man. The Manhattan-based recording studio rejected the accusation. Named Dexter Isaac, who was given a life sentence for unrelated offenses, said that he had attacked Shakur that evening and that the heist had been planned by former drug dealer and entertainment industry executive Jimmy Henchman later that year. On October 4, 1995, Shakur signed a record deal with Death Row Records. A week later, he was freed from jail. This led to Bad Boy Records, and Biggie was arrested outside a Manhattan nightclub on March 23, 1996, after he allegedly chased and threatened to kill 2 fans who were asking for autographs, smashed their taxicab's windows with a baseball bat, and punched one of them. Biggie admitted to second-degree harassment and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. The argument was sparked by Death Row business rivals. During the recording of his second album, Biggie was confronted by Tupac Shakur for the first time since the rumors began at the Soul Train Awards, and in June 1996, Shakur released him from prison after serving community service. He was arrested at his home in Tech, New Jersey, on drug and weapon possession charges. Biggie cited the first claim on Jay-Z's Brooklyn's Finest, wherein JZWS stated that if Faye had twins, she would probably have 2 packs. Get it, 2 packs. But Biggie did not mention the claim that she had sex with Faith Evans, who was away from him at the time, and that Biggie had copied his style and image. Shakur was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on September 7, 1996, and died 6 days later. Rumors of Biggie's involvement in Shakur's murder circulated in a 2002 Los Angeles Times series titled Who Killed Shakur? Biggie did not directly respond to the track, saying in a 1997 radio interview that it was not his style to respond. Editor of the Los Angeles Times Mark Dui Zahn wrote that Phillips' story has withstood all challenges to its accuracy and that Tupac Shakur, based on police reports and multiple sources, Chuck Phillips reported that the shooting was carried out by a Compton gang, the Southside Crips, to avenge a beating by Shakur hours earlier, and that Biggie had paid for the gun. In an interview that he recalled working with Biggie on the song in a late-night session rather than during the day. He was unable to remember the exact date of the session, but he speculated that it was probably not the night Shakur was shot because otherwise, we would have heard about it. Mr. Alford said Evans recalled her husband calling her the night before Shakur passed away. She said, sobbing with shock, "I think it's fair to say he was probably afraid given everything that was going on at the time and all the hype that was put on this so-called beef that he didn't really have in his heart against anyone." Wayne Barrow, Biggie's co-manager, said Biggie was recording the nasty boy the night Shakur was shot. he met with Snoop Dogg, who said that Biggie said he never hated Shakur. 2 days after Shakur's death, Biggie and Lil CE were arrested for public marijuana use, and their car was repossessed. The dealership then decided to rent them a Chevrolet Lumina SUV. In its place, the car had brake issues, which Biggie ignored despite Lil C's protests. It then collided with a rail in New Jersey, breaking Biggie's left leg, breaking Lil C's jaw, and leaving Charlie Baltimore with multiple injuries. Biggie spent months in the hospital after the accident, where he was briefly forced to use a wheelchair. The lyrics of Long Kiss, Good Night, You Still Tickle Me allude to the accident. I used to be as strong as Rippleby till Lil CE crippled me, Evans sings. On October 29, 1996, Evans gave birth to Biggie's son, Christopher C. J. Wallace. Despite being hospitalized, he continued to work on the album. In a 2012 interview, Junior Mafia member Lil Kim said that Biggie had stopped her from remixing the humorous single Love You for Life. Lil Kim also recalled being Biggie's biggest fan and his pride and joy during their romantic relationship. The following month, Lil Kim released her debut album, Hardcore, under Biggie's direction. By confining her in a room, Biggie allegedly stated that she would never perform a song with them, most likely due to the group's association with 2Pac and Death Row Records. On January 27, 1997, Biggie was ordered to pay $41,000 in damages after a concert promoter's friend claimed Biggie and his entourage beat him after a fight in May 1995. He was charged with criminal assault for the incident, which is still pending, but all robbery charges were dropped as a result. Biggie expressed a wish to prioritize his mental health as well as his relationships with his family and friends. In February 1997, Biggie traveled to California to promote his album Life. Biggie was involved in a domestic fight with girlfriend Charlie Baltimore at the Four Seasons Hotel that month over pictures of Biggie and other girls. Biggie had told Lil CE the night before to take the bag containing the photos out of the room, but he had. Charlie Baltimore did not recover Biggie's watch or ring from the hotel window, but they did find the watch. Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious Big, was a rapper whose real name was Christopher Wallace. He tragically died on March 9, 1997, in Los Angeles at the age of 17. Diddy and Biggie's journey began in 1992 when they first met, orchestrated by Diddy after noticing Biggie's feature in the Source magazine's Unsigned Hype column. As per Pop Sugar recounting their initial connection, Diddy shared with Revolt via Pop Biggie was only 24 years old, as reported by ABC News, and his loss deeply affected fans, peers, and especially Diddy, his best friend. I remember taking him to Sylvia's Uptown, a soul food restaurant in Harlem, the first time I met Biggie. When we sat down, he really didn't know what to say. Here was this big guy with this in-your-face rap attitude, but he was a quiet Biggie, overwhelmed by the realization of his dream, and he couldn't even eat. I came to understand how significant this moment was for him. It was truly his dream. He was unable to eat because all he wanted was for this to truly occur, and it did. Sadly, Biggie's death broke the dream, which makes Diddy feel guilty for their early encounter. When Biggie Smalls was shot in Los Angeles 3 years later, the title of his debut album, Ready to Die, tragically became prophetic. In remembrance of the late rapper, Posthumous released his album Life After Death in the same month as ABC. In the 1990s, Diddy signed Biggie Smalls to Bad Boy Records. News over the years, Diddy has been open about his friendship with Biggie. In 2017, he disclosed that, while appearing on the Wendy Williams show, he felt some sort of responsibility for his friend's untimely death. I think I always feel some sort of, responsibility because I'm in this thing with him. You know what I'm saying, he's my artist. It was his intention to travel to London that evening, but I allowed him to convince me to stay in Los Angeles instead of flying to London. This has troubled me, as I've always believed that sometimes you have to follow your instincts. I had a gut feeling that I should board the plane, but sometimes you have to follow your instincts. This is God's world, so I know it's His plan, but in all honesty, that's one of the things I regret, so I'm making sure he went. People are sitting here believing every Biggie movie they've seen, telling you it was just a drive-by, even though the witness tells you the car was standing right there at the corner and was probably there all night. Eugene "Gene" Deal, the bodyguard, spilled some serious tea, saying that the shooter had been waiting all night for Biggie's murder, so when Biggie was shot and killed in 1997 in La Deal, the person riding with Diddy at the time dropped some bombshells. He claimed that the car was just hanging out on the corner, not rolling, despite the fact that all the movies depicted it as a drive-by. This isn't the first time Deal has shared his opinions. He's been saying for a long time that every Biggie movie claims it's a drive-by, but the witness tells you the car was standing right there at the corner and was probably there all night. Deal, this is all fiction, and people are now swallowing these stories whole. In an interview from the previous year, Biggie said that he wasn't the main target that evening. He revealed that he had received a tip that someone was trying to get Diddy, also known as Puff Daddy, at the museum party that night. He said, "Puff, I've got some intelligence. The people are going to murder us tonight at the museum party," and warned him. And not only do FBI documents corroborate his statements, but they also show that the Deal intercepted a dubious figure who was approaching Diddy's car that evening. Deal flashed his gun, essentially telling the man to back off, and the suspicious man left to get into a car that was parked at the same location where Biggie was shot. The twist is that while Biggie's car was stopped, Diddy's car continued through the red light, indicating that the shooter was not going to shoot Biggie. The document also reveals that the shooter hesitated for a considerable amount of time before firing into Biggie's car, indicating that he was not planning on shooting Biggie. However, Combs said there are numerous receipts that also suggest Diddy, formerly known as Puff Daddy, had a hand in Biggie's passing. Biggie's mother is among his family members who reportedly think that's true because, as you may have heard, Diddy has been returning publishing rights to his former artists, including Biggie. Signed to Diddy's label, Bad Boy Entertainment, when it first launched in 1993. He released his debut album, Ready to Die, in 1994, shortly after Biggie was killed. Diddy has been making money off of Biggie's music ever since, but he has only recently returned the publishing rights to Biggie's family. It seems that this is Diddy's way of saying sorry, but a number of people, including his former collaborators, have argued that those publishing rights are worthless. Biggie's mother, Vida Wallace, has reportedly been pleading with Diddy to release the rights for years, and the family is reportedly unhappy about it because they now realize Diddy was only interested in making money off of Biggie's music, particularly after his death. Revealed in a 2005 book, Biggie Vida Wallace remembers her son Christopher, how little money Biggie received when he signed on with Diddy's label. Based on what she wrote, it is evident that she didn't think Diddy had her son's best interests at heart. Regretfully, Biggie accepted the delusion of a friend and mentor for roughly $25,000. That's how much Puffy enticed Biggie with, and at the time, he had never seen that much money in his life as a 19-year-old. It was plenty to purchase blind love and allegiance and convince Biggie that Puffy was willing to do everything for him. Biggie had plans to sign with another label, so when he realized that Diddy was just using him as a confidant, he realized that Biggie's mother still reportedly believes that Diddy may have been involved in her son's death and that it had everything to do with money. Several other people have also stated that Diddy wanted Biggie out of the way. Further stated that Biggie intended to leave Bad Boy Records in search of a better offer somewhere worth more than $60 million. In fact, the Gene Deal confirmed that Biggie's demise was unquestionably the result of an inside job. Another former security guard also asserts that she received offers to look after Biggie. These individuals can't just be speculating that Diddy was involved in everything that occurred. There were also reports that Biggie gave Diddy a lot of great ideas regarding how to handle the artists on Bad Boy in terms of both their image and sound. Biggie would mention it in passing, and Diddy would remain silent until he realized Diddy had the artist doing exactly what Biggie suggested, and Biggie never received any money or credit for the ideas he brought up to Diddy. Biggie knew he had to leave Bad Boy, but he passed away before he could leave the label, and similar to Tupac, Diddy is all over the receipts if the. That concludes the crazy ride in the Diddy, Biggie, and Tupac saga. The twists and turns and conspiracy theories have us all scratching our heads. Who knew the music scene could be this dramatic? Keep an ear out for more tales from the hip-hop world. If receipts are any indication, Diddy's connection to both Tupac and Biggie's deaths is pretty loud.